just quickly, we should have the Dallas discussion. I've been impressed by Kidd. That team plays defense. Those guys know who the roles are, and they have guys like Brunson, who I think got really helped when Luka was out. Brunson, if I was a GM, Brunson would have already been on my team. I've always liked him. I remember when he'd fall to like 33, 34 in the draft. That was stupid. But Bullock has been good for them. They have some shooting. They have this weird, if we can just keep Porzingis healthy this spring, we might actually be good. They have a big trade exception. I think for like, might be like 10 million, something like that. So they have easily the chance to get somebody. Everybody thinks Goran Dragic is going there as soon as Toronto buys them out, whenever that happens. So they're going to add 2 players, but the breadcrumbs are in place for a Mavs run. What are you seeing, Rob?
I mean, the question for them in season is, how do they get better than this? Like, if their defense is going to be solid, their offense is going to kind of come and go, I would assume, with Luka a little bit. Like, if he's able to get back into form, maybe their offense can knock on the door of, top 10, up into the top 5 kind of territory, because he's shown he can be that.
Yeah.
But short of that, this is not a team that they do have this trade exception. They have the option to either pay Jalen Brunson or trade him at some point. And for as much as we all appreciate Jalen Brunson, it's a very different proposition when you're paying him $18 to $20 million a year. So if you're not willing to do that, are you trading him? And if so, what can you get back in the door? Because this team has needs for sure. The question is, can you service those in the season versus is that more of an off-season, longer-term project? But they've turned it around in a big way. I mean, just this little stretch they've been able to put together has been really impressive.
That's the question, right? If you want to keep Brunson past the trade deadline, you have to be willing to pay him long term. And do you want him to be the third guy next to Luka and KP? Because that is like ultimately what's going to dictate the fate of the franchise and like where Luka goes 5 years from now. And I like Brunson. He's done a lot of good things, especially when Luka is out and booing that team. And I think he would be really good on most teams. But like, do you want to saddle your future to Jalen Brunson if you have one of the best guards in all of basketball?
It's a tough one because that's the position where you don't want to overpay somebody. It's just too easy to get point guards over and over again. Look at Dennis Schroeder, who, by the way, if Dallas is interested in a Dennis Schroeder, Jalen Brunson trade, call Brad Stevens because I think he would entertain it. I really like Brunson, though. I value him. And I do think, like, if you're Dallas and Luka is going to be making $40 million a year, you've got Porzingis for this year and the next 2 at 30. You're not going to be able to trade him. You're not going to have cap space anyway. So why wouldn't I just try to sign Brunson for, 4 years, 60, something like that? Try to lock him down at a little bit of a discount. And I know that that's somebody that can play with Luka. I know that's somebody that can run the offense when Luka's out, and he's getting better. Like right now, he's 16, 5, and 4. What's he shooting from 3? 34%, not terrible. But he's 50% field goal, which is unusual for point guards. Usually the point guards now are always in the low 40s. He's a really good like finisher / kind of foul line jump shooter type guy, which is, I think that's one of the reasons I like him. He's just old school. He's not the guy who's just either he's jacking threes or running the corner. I would keep him, but you're right. If you're going to trade him, now's the time. Like a Marcus Smart kind of we look get a little ambitious maybe.
Mm-hmm.
What else am I getting back?
It's tough. I mean, he's the bird in the hand, right? Whereas Dallas has made so many mistakes over the past couple of years, just chasing after the brass ring or whatever, like glossy free agent they think that they could attract to that market. And on the one hand, it's tough to say like we're putting a ceiling on this team in some degrees by bringing on a Brunson, by relying on Bullock and some of these other guys they brought in over the offseason in order to just be better, right? Just to put anything that will work next to Luka.
Yeah.
On the other hand, like I do wonder if you bring him on long term, forces Luka to be off the ball a little bit more. And I wonder what that opens up just for that entire offense and for Luka in general. Is there another level to Luka by putting in more of a pass first point guard in there that can make them better overall? The problem with that, of course, is like Luka actually has to give up the ball, which seems to be the biggest issue in Dallas. So I don't know.
He's frustrating as much as I love him. See, we deal with this in Boston with the Boston fans where we're like, we just need to get a point guard for the Jays, which we do. Those guys need a point guard. They This is part of why the offense is so stagnant. They've never played with an actual, like if you just put that, you could say this for a lot of teams, but I think you could really say it for the Celtics. If you just put Chris Paul in the Celtics, think about how awesome that would be for Robert Williams and the Jays. Like how the team would immediately fall into place. Everything would make sense. Guys would get the ball in the perfect spot. It would just be amazing. Now, 20 teams could say that, but
if you just put a first-team All-NBA point guard on their team.
If you just put a first-team All-NBA who's one of the best point guards of all time on that team.
Be pretty good.
But when the people like my dad's like, we need a point guard. It's like, all right, who's the point guard? There's like 7 of them. Like, can we get Tyrese Halliburton? Maybe. Could he be that guy? I hope so. But in general, the list, there's like 2 types of point guards at this point in 2022. And most of them are not the old school point guard. Most of them are like the Dame Lillard. I need to be in the best situation for me. I'm going to take the most shots. I'm going to have the ball a lot. And you'll have to figure out how to get yours. Dame Lillard's not like a real point guard. He plays point guard, but he's not a I'm looking out for everybody else. And that's like what the Jays have missed. The Jays, other than Kyrie, don't laugh, when he showed up the team when they had the 16-game winning streak to start the first year, and Kyrie was just like, and he was hoodwinking all of us, but it was just this, oh my God, what an amazing teammate. And he's really so unselfish, and he's just all about, and we won 16 straight. And the Jays, that was really the only time ever that they were in an awesome situation with a point guard, because he was like looking out for them, but then taking over games at the end, which is what a point guard's supposed to do. I just don't think those guys are out there. So going back to the Jalen Brunson thing, I value what he does because I do think like he's an old school type of guy.